So Pragerus is going to show us how we can make our city safer.
After 2 decades of relative peace, violent crime has again become a major issue in the United States. In 2020, homicides rose by 30%, a record for a one-year increase.
Yeah, but still, violent crime has been decreasing over the decades. So just like 1 year where there's a slight increase doesn't mean our city is run amok with a bunch of criminals.
In 2021 and 2022, homicides continued to climb, shattering records in several cities. We don't have to live this way. Here are 4 practical solutions that will make our cities safer. None of these solutions are theoretical. They're street-tested and backed by rigorous studies. They're constitutional and cost-effective. While each one will reduce crime on its own, taken together, they can transform a city, not in decades, but within a year or 2. Here's what we need to do. First, target the power few. Violent crime is highly concentrated. We know where violent crimes are likely to be committed: drug houses, gang hangouts, a problem bar, crime.
A problem bar? Okay, drug houses. If we legalize drugs, well, there wouldn't be drug houses anymore because everybody could just go to the store. Gang hangouts, that is a whole separate issue dealing with poverty and lack of access to resources and services. And, well, what are you going to do about problem bars? Are we going to make alcohol illegal? Or what, station a cop at every single quote-unquote problem bar?
Crime hotspots. We know when violent crimes are likely to be committed: at night, on weekends, and during the hot summer months. But more importantly, we know who commits violent crimes. They're called the power few. In any given city, just 5% of criminals are responsible for 50% of all violent crimes. I want to make this abundantly clear. It's not 5% of the total population of a city that's driving the majority of violent crime. It's 5% of the criminals, a subset of a subset. Targeting this small cohort of high-frequency offenders can substantially reduce violent crime rates throughout an entire city. Second, go after the drug dealers and gun-toting felons.
Ooh. Okay, so you're trying to take away our guns, huh? That's pretty bad. I thought right-wingers were all about everybody having guns. Even, domestic abusers were, I forgot the state, but they ruled that domestic, abusers still have a constitutional right to own a gun because it doesn't, it's supposedly a violation of their constitutional rights because the founding fathers never said that domestic abusers shouldn't be allowed to own a gun.
You don't have to dig very deeply into crime statistics to discover that drug dealers and felons in possession of firearms are linked to many violent crimes, especially homicides. These are the people who are not only likely to kill, but to be killed. So if law enforcement focuses on drug dealers and gun-toting felons, they'll reduce the number of both potential killers and potential victims on the street.
The easiest situation for drugs, we can just do like what Portugal did and just legalize drugs.
But targeting drug dealers has an added benefit, one that's lost on the public, but well known to law enforcement. Drug dealers, often part of drug gangs, have the best information about homicides and all sorts of other crimes. Any investigator who interrogates a drug-dealing gang member will likely soon discover that the defendant has witnessed or participated in multiple shootings, both fatal.
Where's any of this stats that he's getting all this information from? It would be nice if he actually showed something.
And non-fatal. In addition, that same defendant will know about a score of other crimes, everything from robberies to carjackings to organized retail theft rings. And if he's facing a long sentence, there's a good chance he'll give up that information. Third, unite cops and prosecutors. When police and prosecutors collaborate from the inception of an investigation, good things happen.
They already work together. What are you even talking about? And what about all the bad cops that, are dealing drugs, selling illegal weapons, committing violent crimes and stuff, are we going to stop those people or no?
This is a concept known as vertical prosecution. Working as a team, police and prosecutors discuss targets, timing of arrests, and legal issues like whether a search warrant is required. Once the investigation is completed, the police remain involved at the trial stage, helping to determine the order of witnesses, trial themes, and even jury selection. This style of collaboration.
No, cops shouldn't be the ones involved in choosing the jury. That seems to be highly problematic.
Collaboration is resource and time intensive, but it pays big dividends. There's no blaming each other for a poor investigation or bad trial strategy because everybody participated in all aspects of the case. When the prosecutors and police work together, particularly in major cases like homicides, the cases are better investigated, legal errors are minimized, the system works as intended. In short,
well, unless you're somebody who's wrongfully convicted for a crime, and you get like 400 years in prison because some random witness said something and there's no evidence connecting you to said crime.
Justice is done. On the other hand, and this seems to be happening more and more in America today, when the prosecutors and police are actively hostile towards one another, the only people who win are the criminals. Fourth, keep the bad actors in jail. Progressive politicians insist that the length of prison sentences plays no significant role in stopping crime.
Because it doesn't. We can put thousands of people in jail for thousands of years, but if you don't actually get at the root of why crimes are happening and stuff, nothing's ever going to change. Okay, again, on drug stuff, there wouldn't be large drug gangs, there wouldn't be violence around drugs, you wouldn't have, illegal drugs being sold or people dying from tainted drugs if the government legalized these drugs and have them regulated and sold in stores, and prevent, people from making bad drugs or something, or tainted drugs and selling them to people, as well as it prevents, people underage from accessing those drugs as well, because it's harder for people to get to them. Drug dealers never ask people, for an ID. If, somebody's, asking for drugs, it's like, oh, okay, yep, I'll sell that.
Most law enforcement officials strongly disagree. So who's right? In two separate studies, in 2020 and 2022, the United States Sentencing Commission, an independent federal agency, took up this question. Their analysis involved thousands of federal inmates over multiple decades. Their conclusion was clear. Once prison sentences get to 5 years in length, the longer the prison sentence, the less likely the criminal will commit another crime. Your average citizen could tell you why incarceration matters. 1, people don't want to go back to prison, so criminals try not to commit more crimes.
Yeah, nobody wants to be in prison or go back to prison, but the recidivism rate of America is one of the highest in the world, as well as, we have the highest prison population in the world. And that is because when people get out of jail, the system is set up to make it so that people will want to go do crimes in order to, get money, in order to survive again, because as a felon, you have basically limited options on jobs, which means it's harder to make money, which means people are going to have to fall back into like selling drugs or something in order to be able to live.
2, the age crime curve tells us that most violent criminals commit the majority of their crimes from their late teens into their 20s. Prison sentences of over 5 years simply take these violent criminals out of circulation when they're at their most dangerous.
Yeah, let's put these let's put, young people into prison around more violent people so that they can learn how to be better criminals. That's one of the biggest problems with just putting everybody in prison. You got some people that are pretty non-violent, and they're put into prison with more violent people, and they learn how to be a better criminal. We could, we can. There's better ways of changing our system instead of just, hey, we need more people in the prison system.
So let's review. Target the power few. Go after the drug dealers and gun-toting felons. Unite cops and prosecutors, and keep the bad actors in jail. That's what separates safe cities from dangerous ones. It's not rocket science, just good law enforcement. I'm Tom Hogan, former federal and local prosecutor and criminal defense lawyer for Prager University.
Well, that was a totally shit video of some cop thinking that, oh, let's just put more people in prison because that is what solves all our problems, when the United States has the highest prison population, and that has not changed anything whatsoever, but give for-profit prisons more money because they love that they have a contract with the state saying that they need at least a 90% capacity, otherwise they can sue the state for lack of inmates.